What's up, guys? My name is Davion Bailey, and today I'm here on another episode of the EHI podcast. With me today, I have the pleasure of speaking to Mr. Maurice Allen, a professional golfer and, most importantly, your Evans alumni.
Never switch on the homies in the day ones. They didn't want to open doors, so we made some. Take a bow.
So, Mr. Allen, how are you feeling today?
Not too bad, man. How you doing?
I'm great. So, if you don't mind, can you tell the people a little about yourself?
Sure. I am a proud alumni of 4949 Silver Star Road. I graduated in 1999. I ran track, played football, played volleyball, soccer, baseball while I was here. I was a member of a bunch of different clubs like ROTC. There was an engineering club at that time. And yeah, so Evans is just a part of who I am as a person.
Okay. So you said you played a lot of sports. Out of all those sports, why did you decide that golf was what you wanted to pursue?
Golf was not what I wanted to pursue. When I left here, I actually was waiting on a volleyball scholarship. I think I had 5 different track and field offers, but I was waiting on the volleyball scholarship. I chose to go to the University of South Florida. From University of South Florida, I transferred to Florida A&M, and golf came much, much later in life.
Okay. Can you share a bit of the differences that you experienced between the transfers from colleges?
Not much, really. I mean, school is school. So obviously at a PWI, it's a little different. The schools are much larger. I think when I transferred to FAM, it was more pressure, but it was more of a situation where it was a community, close-knit. For me, the pressure was because my whole family went to FAM, so I was trying to resist going there and having to walk in those shoes and live up to the expectations of what my parents accomplished while they were there and other members of my family. But I think that I found a place that helped me mature and understand the struggles of being a Black man in the world, and really honed in a lot of the things that my parents really reiterated, and honed in a lot of the things that my parents taught me when I was younger.
Okay. So if you don't mind sharing, what experiences did you have here at Evans that inspired you to come back and give back to the community?
I don't know. I think a lot of times people forget that you're a sum total of your life experiences, good or bad, doesn't matter. All those things shape and mold you into the individual that you are. So I had nothing but good memories of this place. I've heard people say Pine Hills is a bad area. It's the hood. It's this, it's that. I never experienced any of that. So for me, being a part of Evans High School, there was no other high school I wanted to go to. I wasn't one of those kids where I wanted to go to DP, or I wanted to go to a Popco, or I wanted to go to Edgewater. I mean, this is the only place I ever wanted to go. And this is where all my friends were. And so from one of those things, I mean, I had nothing but amazing memories. There was no adversity for me at all. I mean, nothing that I didn't create myself. No bad memories, nothing but good memories. So it was, as far as giving back, I think that that's just a part of making sure that you help people get further. You know, there were people who gave back when I was here. My parents gave back a lot when I was in school. I saw other parents doing the same thing. So I guess it's one of those things where when you see people doing it, it's just you learn to follow suit.
Okay. So I heard you mention your parents a couple of times, which brings me to my next question. Who were your key figures growing up that motivated you to keep going?
And I had way too many key figures. So some people can say they had one person that, I guess, motivated them to become a better human being. But for me, it was no choice. Everywhere I looked, there were powerful people and significant people in my family. And then I guess my parents, their friends who ultimately become your parents or your uncles and stuff like that. Those people were successful people. And so it was just a way of life. I mean, everywhere I looked, it wasn't any other option for me but to be the person that I am because of the examples that were around me. And I did not have any bad examples. So I didn't have that situation where, don't be this person or don't be that person. It was literally a bar that was set because people talk about birds of a feather flock together. So my parents were very successful in everything they did, which a lot of times that means you're hanging around other successful people. So when you're seeing that over and over and over again, you almost feel like there's no other way of life to be. And success is not a matter of how much money people make or what kind of car they're driving, what kind of house, but literally people doing what they say they're going to do, people who worked really, really hard, people who believed in their craft, believed in their skill. And so that was the thing that made it a little different for me.
Okay. I know you said your time here at Evans, you didn't have any bad experiences, all positive
I broke my
things.
arm. I guess that was a bad experience, but eventually it turned into a positive one. But I mean, if there was anything that was adverse, I would say when I broke my arm, but that was it. I never had anything that I regret or something that made me have a bad taste in my mouth about the school, the teachers, the people, none of it.
If you don't mind me asking, what sport did you break your arm in?
Believe it or not, I was running track and we were
Mm.
running hurdles and the guy hit his hurdle into my lane. We were racing. I mean, it was just freak accident. It wasn't anything malicious, and shattered my arm from the elbow down. And it was tough to try to come back. I think I ran back towards the end of the season, but it wasn't any good. And I was still having surgeries throughout. I remember having one surgery and then going and running in a track meet, I think 2 days later with gauze and bandages on and stuff like that. So anything to just get back on to the track and try to get ready.
Yeah.
So
You sound very, very determined. Like nothing can really hold you back.
if you grow up around people who are determined and people who tell you that anything's possible, it's one thing, I guess, to have people tell you anything's possible. It's another thing to be around people who work to make things possible. And so when you see that and you see how hard people work, I mean, my mom got up at I think 4:30 every morning, left the house by 5 to drive all the way over to the Space Coast. My dad was a principal and all these, I mean, I have all these people that just did so many amazing things, but life for them wasn't easy. They worked really, really, really hard. And so with me, it was the same situation. I mean, it was one of those things. The reason why I played so many sports is because there was no such thing as free time. It was you pack your schedule, which gives you a checklist, and you do everything on your checklist, and that's it. I mean, you just keep moving.
Okay. I like the way that sounds. So going back to the whole injury thing,
Mhm.
was there at any point in your mind where you felt like, you just you started thinking negatively about it? Like you thought you weren't gonna ever be back to normal the way you were, or
I mean, we knew that I would never be the same again after that, just because modern technology that we have today was not available then, and the injury was extremely severe. But I mean, my parents didn't allow me to make any excuses for it. My coaches didn't either. And you're like, you figure it out. Your arm's messed up, but your legs aren't. You find a way just to adapt, even with I guess if you want to say handicap, disability, whatever it is. But no one ever treated me differently because of it. So no, the expectation level never dropped. Didn't matter.
and do you feel like you carrying that same mentality over to where you are today has played a big role throughout your whole journey?
100%. I think all of those things, I think, you learn as a human being at some point, if you take the mentality of everything that happens to you happens for you, rather than the opposite, where people are always thinking things are happening to them. Like it's always something against me. It's always something against me. A lot of times in life, I mean, you're a pretty tall kid. So at one point when you were growing, your knees hurt, your elbows hurt, and they call it growing pains, right?
Yeah.
And you were like, I just want this pain to stop. I just want this pain to stop. Well, if you turn into a Division 1 basketball player or you turn into an NBA superstar, was that pain worth it? Yeah. But during that time frame, was it something that you were excited about, something that you were happy about? No. And well, the same thing happens in life. If you understand that, if you take the different mindset of understanding that the things that are happening to you are literally preparing you for something else later on in life, don't take the negativity a portion of it. Really learn to understand, slow down time. What am I supposed to learn in this situation is the first question. Second of all, did I place myself in this situation? Because if you did, then you learn so you don't go back in that situation again. If you didn't place yourself in this situation, then you really have to understand that there's something that you're supposed to learn from being in that particular situation that's going to enable you and help you later on in life.
Okay. Um, what else do I have for you? Okay, so going back to you being an alumni here at Evans, is there any vision in particular that you have for the school?
Honestly, my vision for the school is to be the best school in Orange County Public Schools. I think that one of the biggest problems that we have, especially with Black and brown people, is we're taught to hate ourselves from the moment that we come into this world. I mean, it's in the music that you listen to every day. It's in the mannerisms of other people. It's in the mannerisms of how we move. We have this thought process that, if you listen to people talk to us, the first thing they say is we're always an underserved community, right? And underserved by whose standards? Who determines if we're underserved? Who determines what our value? Who determines our worth? We get to determine that, and we don't need to look to anybody else for validation of that. So the moment I think that we start to understand that we are powerful beyond all measure, I think that we'll start to really find a better way to cohesively work together and see the true potential that we have. I mean, if you look at it, most of the violence that happens with us is us against each other. And that doesn't make sense. Everybody's here for a reason. Everybody has a superpower. Find a way to work together and live together and move together. I think that's something, if we find a way to do that, we can really see what is possible with the people that are around us.
Okay, that sounds great. So, is there at any point in your life where you feel like you started to realize that? Like,
I guess my whole life, because I mean, I haven't seen anything different, right? I mean, I have not lived anything different. Obviously, I've seen what other people go through. I've witnessed other people's stories. I've witnessed all of those things. But for me personally, I've seen the other side of the bridge on where if you get people working together cohesively, that you can make something really amazing happen. So that's the bigger portion for me, is trying to get more people like yourself and other students to know that the animosity and the fear, because in today's culture, there are a lot of people who are famous with no skill. So if I can respect your skill, you can respect my skill. If I can understand, even like on a basketball court, I could teach you all the plays. I could teach you every move, or so on and so forth, but I'll never be you and you'll never be me. Whoever has the better talent will rise to the top. But then the person who is quote unquote lacking the talent, if you're around me enough, you'll start to elevate your talent as well. And that doesn't mean no one knows where that can take you.
okay. So do you believe there's others that should also give back to the whole community as well?
Yeah, I believe everybody should. I think rather than having this negative thought process of this community, I think if people just took the time to do the small things, considerate things. I mean, even something as simple as, when you have a dirty baby diaper, don't throw it in the parking lot, throw it in the trash, you know what I mean? Or if you have any type of trash, don't clutter up the place where you live. Don't litter in the place where you live. Actually have more pride for your area. But we don't, and then what the problem will be is when white people come in here and they move and they take over and they take the land and they take the houses and the rent goes up and all these other things, we're all upset, but we're the ones affected. And the reason why they're doing that is because they feel like they have to come in and police our area when we can police our own.
Okay. Well, Mr. Allen, it was great to talk to you today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.